Okay, welcome back. This is Teddy with Teddy Bear Knives. So here we go. We're gonna finish up this Tanto that we started building a while back. It's been a while, but hey, when life gets busy, you gotta make the time where you can. So start it off. I'm gonna improve this glass breaker I had on the back of this. It was kind of big, kind of bulky, but the customer, he's a big fan of Destiny, the video game. So I decided why not try and make something a little bit more exciting. So I printed out the logo and put it on here, and here you see me just laying it out with a center punch, getting ready to drill it out. So there we go, got a shot of it here in progress, a lot of drilling, a lot of filing, but hey, it's turned out looking out alright. So there we go, got the whole thing taken care of, polished up to, I believe I did 400 and got ready for the heat treat. So my forge there is kind of interesting. I've messed around with it here and there. It's just a very basic backyard charcoal grill turned into a forge. The reason there's so much flame, because I'm using charcoal and coal, the reason there's so much flame around it is I don't have a very deep firebox, so I've actually put two chunks of a log on either side there to kind of create a deeper firebox. So the wood's burning off, the coal and charcoal is burning just fine. The issue you got is it does burn through a lot of fuel. Inside the forge I actually have a 3-inch pipe acting as a kind of a chamber where I throw some charcoal inside there, creating a very oxygen deprived environment. And it's really nice. Last few knives I've done with this method, even though I am using charcoal and coal, bringing it out, there's almost no scale on the blade. It's really nice. The first couple I did were very scaly. It took a lot of time to get that all cleaned up. But these last couple that I've been doing with that pipe in there, it takes longer to heat up, but it creates a much cleaner, much smoother heat treat without nearly as much scale building up. So you can see I have the tang in first, getting that up to critical, because my hot spot inside that tube is relatively small, so I'm not able to do the entire blade at once. So I get the tang heated up to critical, and then I flip around and put the blade part in. This means that when I go to quench, so the tang isn't quite up to the non-magnetic, but the blade itself is. So that helps me give it a little bit of differential hardening between the tang and the blade. It's kind of funny, as I'm doing this, I'm actually underneath the pine tree. We have a big old pine tree in our backyard, and there's a bunch of snow up in the branches, and so you notice me looking up and around. Occasionally what's happening is the snow above me started melting, and it got to the point at one point in time where it felt like it was raining, and I was getting kind of confused because it was finally a clear day, and I was like, it was getting rained on, but it was just water dripping down. So there we go into the oil for the quench. I use canola oil. It seems to, I don't know anything about the technical specs for it, but it doesn't seem to flare up as much as some others that I've used. So there we go, got it in. I believe here in a second I do the file test. You'll see if you can hear it behind the roaring of the vacuum I use to power my forge. So here we go. So yeah, not sure if you were able to hear that, but it is definitely hard. You can see from that picture how clean the blade is. Yes, it's black and stuff, but there's only one real spot of scale on that entire thing. And like I said, based off of past knives, that was a very good heat treat. So this is that fun forever sanding bit that comes on every knife video. If you've made a knife, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't made a knife, or if you watched any other videos, this takes a long time, even at 8 to 10 times speed. It's going to take a while. So if you're super thrilled about it, go ahead and keep watching. If not, jump ahead a few minutes and then get away from the sanding and more exciting stuff. Okay, so after the sanding, I did a little bit of electro etching onto it. I'm going to do a video later of how I actually do that, because it's pretty simple and a lot cheaper than buying an etching machine. So here I am working on the scales. I am using IPE, if that's how you pronounce it. It's IPE. It's a Brazilian walnut is another name for it. I'm not entirely sure. It's really pretty dense. It's a really dense, heavy wood, and that's what the customer wanted, so that's what the customer gets. I'm flattening off the two scales right now. I'm just using some, what is this? I think it's 150 grit sandpaper. Just getting them both as flat as I can. That builds up. It's kind of an oily wood, so it builds up pretty quick, but it is also looking pretty fantastic. So after getting both scales flat, then over to the drill press. I kind of cheated on this video and did a little bit without videoing it, but hey, I'm sure you'll forgive me for that. So got one side drilled out. I actually lied, I got both sides drilled out. It's amazing what happens when you don't, when you have gaps between videos. You forget what you did. But there we go. We're drilling out the second side now, using both the scale as well as the blank to make sure that hole is straight through. So drill out all pinholes. I used 3/16 stainless steel rod on this one, and there you go. Just it's getting there. It's almost ready. See how pretty it's getting. So normally I do all my shaping after I get the scales glued on, but because this wood was so hard, I wanted to get them squared up as much as possible beforehand. So I go just using the blank as a template there. I kind of clean it up. And I actually ended up having to go use a buddy's belt sander to get it shaped the way we want. There we go. That's the finished product. 5160 Tanto. It's 1/4 inch. Black Kydex sheath, IPE hardwood handles, stainless steel pins, finger jipping on top for a powered thumb grip, and with a glass breaker with a custom logo on it, I guess you could call it. And as you can see, it cuts pretty alright, especially for being the large 1/4 inch that it is. The classic shake it so it doesn't fall out. Seeing the good fit that has. And then my wife decided to take some glamour shots of this one, so there we go. Turned out pretty nice. I'm not usually a fan of Tantos, but this one I like.